So this video is actually a continuation from my best video on this channel, being what if Sai chose Nagi instead of Shido. So if you haven't watched that, please watch that before watching this. The U20 team would head back to the locker room in despair that they could only draw against the Bluelock 11, a team of mere strikers put into one team put together, versus people who have been representing their countries for how long they have been, and a lazy sloth alongside a whole new Gen 11 player. With all that, they still couldn't beat a bunch of brats. They would still be in confusion, thinking of if they're still going to be able to represent their country after all that. Sai would tell them it's all over for them, as he doesn't care about this country, and begins to leave. But with Nagi asking him one question: what is your ego? What is your ideology? What makes you want to become the world's best? Sai would respond, I just want to become the world's best midfielder and win the Champions League. There's nothing more to it. You have an immense amount of potential, I'll give you that. But if you don't follow the irrepressible impulses flapping in your heart, Nagi would think back to Luna saying those nearly exact same words, and would ask what club he plays for. Sai will say, I'm about to join the main squad for La Real, the world's strongest club. Nagi would then remember Loki uttering La Real in one of his sentences, so it finally clicked. Then he would ask if he and Luna both have played each other, and to that Sai would say only in 1v1 battles. Nagi would then nod his head in understanding, heading to his video games while Sai would leave the facility. The Bluelockers would have 2 weeks off to rest up before the NEL arc. They would then be brought back to the facility to see that everyone was brought there. Since it was a tie, no one got expelled, but only the U20 starting 11 plus Nagi were invited like in canon. Nagi would then listen to the explanations of the countries. His mind will track back to the second selection when he found out about Noah being the world's best striker, so that would intrigue Nagi to join Germany. Nagi would then think about the choices more and think rationality and using his brain cells is too much of a pain for him, so he would ask Chigiri which league Bergkamp is in, and Chigiri would say England. Nagi is about to click, but his irrepressible impulses stop him. He asks Chigiri one last question: what country is La Real in? As the two people who humbled him the most and gave him the best advice about listening to his heart, being Luna and Sai, both stemmed from La Real, and Nagi would think Spain would give him the answers he needed to freely embody what his heart truly desired in football. Chigiri would tell him Spain, and Nagi would click there immediately. Rayo would feel a bit bummed knowing him and Nagi would be separated again, but wouldn't be so down about it like in the second selection. Also, since every NEL team besides Bastard Munchen is supposed to have 9 players, it means I actually have to send someone to a different team, and Manshine City will receive Haru Hayate. Nagi would then overhear Barcha making his decision to go to Spain. Nagi would be exhilarated as Barcha was one of the few people who made soccer fun for Nagi back in the first and second selection arc. After all the selections are made, the members of Spain would enter their stratum. From there, they would see the top scorer in La Liga from FC Barcha, the extravagant genius dribbler from Brazil, the dance man Lavinho. Ego would talk about under these 5 masters with their own philosophies, all of you would have no choice but to evolve in these environments. He would then explain the rules as first everyone will undergo training under their master strikers to fight for a spot in the starting 11. Those 11 players will be taken into games, and of course your opponents will be the chosen players from the other rings. Otoya would say, so we get to fight the other blue lockers from the other rings. Ego would then confirm that and state the special rules, being that you would need to score 3 goals to win, so the matches are speedy and dramatic. Next would be the unlimited trades. During each game, each team would be able to trade out as many players as they want, as many times as they want. And finally, once per game, each team would be allowed to bring in their match for just 3 minutes. So make it count. Nagi would relate it to bringing an ultra rare character for a free trial run, and Barcha would be intrigued to see how his dribbling could compare to Lavinho's. Ego would then remind everyone that this is also the final selection for the U20 World Cup, stating that they will be ranked based on their in-game performance and it will change per game, with the top 23 being the new U20 World Cup representatives, and would tell the Master Strikers to take it away. Lavinho would approach the Blue Lockers with Kitsunezato, surprised that it's the real under 20 Barcha members and the real Lavinho, as he would pass Kitsunezato the translator earbuds. as everyone would start to hear Lavinho speak in Japanese much to their amazement. Otoya would question if they are really going to learn soccer from him, with Lavinho saying hell nah to that, leaving FC Barcha shocked, except for Barcha and Nagi, who would start regretting coming to Spain. Lavinho would say he's the world's best striker, so why would he ever give hints to them? With Barcha questioning isn't Noah the world's best striker, with Lavinho getting triggered by Barcha, and then he would tell him to listen up, that no matter what anyone says, he is the best in the world, and he has his own world's best inside of him, being his own visualization that doesn't belong to anyone. And if you want to be the world's best, then you can't listen to anyone else. He would then show off his Ginga dribbling style he learned from his home country of Brazil. He talks about an early point in his life where he copied amazing Brazilian players and started mixing things in himself to create his originality. As Lavinho says, his is a butterfly, and how the field is a dance stage to dance out his idea of the world's best, referring to soccer to just an improv session, stealing feel-good rhythm from each other, with Barcha taking his turn on the stage until Nagi takes the ball and takes on the dance floor. It was a wild FC Barcha first day dance party. Lavinho would then tell everyone to proceed to the goal, as he hates doing this, but he has to do this. Nagi would then be shocked to see an esports setup and would ask himself if he is in a game. They would all get ready to commence the experiment trials. As the timer ran down to 0, all the players would commence, with Otoya being in the lead, with Barcha and Nagi close in pursuit. Otoya would fall behind Nagi and Barcha as they go into the incline dash, as Barcha would gain first place, and Lara would be surprised at how fast these guys are. Otoya would reclaim first place again in the ladder sprint, as his nimble footwork would be keeping him in track, with Darai getting up the ranks in 5th place, as he's also nimble too. Nagi would be in 2nd place thanks to the high aerial ability coming into play for their step jumps, and this would be where Darai would fall down in the rank. With Otoya getting the first shot off, being ranked first, Nagi would then come second, Barcha would come third,
and the rest are nobodies.
Lavinho would then show Nagi the cutting-edge training to help support his own originality. Nagi would then see how he actually moves on his own. Lavinho would then make a remark that Nagi is an interesting specimen. He has never seen anyone move and chop the ball the way Nagi does without any sort of creativity. Lavinho, who couldn't keep his curiosity in check, would then investigate, asking what drives Nagi to play soccer. Lavinho would ask, is it about rivals? And Nagi would say, sort of. Lavinho would ask Nagi what his originality state of football is that's exclusive to only Nagi and Nagi alone. Nagi wouldn't have a confident answer to that. Lavinho would ask how he scores his own goals, and to that Nagi would say he would react to a pass off of Whale or Isagi and score off of that, and he doesn't know much about soccer. Lavinho would then turn away, saying that it's up to Nagi and only Nagi alone to figure out his own originality, as Isagi and Real won't be there to hold his hand forever, and how in the future he will have to control the dance stage by himself to get a goal, especially on the world stage. Lavinho isn't like Chris, so he wouldn't feel connected to Nagi the way Chris did, and would already have a favorite in Barcha. Due to this, Nagi wouldn't train his body as hard as he did in Manshine City. Keep in mind, he wouldn't have an Aggie figure to babysit him either. While he does have Otoya and Barcha to help train him, they aren't going to choose babysitting him over improving themselves, as it's every man for themselves now. Then it would cut over to the lineup and now. Goalkeeper, Moro. Right back, Bose. Left back, So. Center back, Ruiz. Other center back, Usais. Center defensive midfielder, Espino. Cam, Gomez. Other Cam, Picasso. Left wing, Seishiro Nagi. Right wing, Eita Otoya. Striker, Meguru Barcha. As the one who has shown the most creativity and improvement in this team, Barcha, I choose to put you at the striker role, as you will be the heart and soul of this team. Lots of plays will rely on your ability to translate your enthusiastic dribbling rhythm into goals. Can I count on your highlights? I say. Nagi would be slightly annoyed that he didn't get the striker role, but would be glad to be able to start. He would then hype himself up to go face Isagi, the man who, even when the whole world watched in the exhibition match, he still couldn't beat. Even with hat-tricks against Isagi both times, he never once beat Isagi. He would remember Rail has this week off, so he would know Rail would be watching him live. All this would get Nagi stoked, as the doors would open for Nagi to make his NEL debut. Matetete ne sekai, watashi wa Nagi seishou da.
FC Barcha would enter the pitch and Nagi would be disappointed to see Isagi is on the bench. As Bachua starts chanting that the new Bachua is here, Otoya would chime in saying the new Otoya-chan is here, too. Nagi would say, "What's up guys, the new Nagi is here as well." Yukimiya, Raichi, and Ikaguri would be shocked to see that their former teammates had made the starting lineup, filling out the whole attacking lineup in 10 days. Bachura would be really surprised to see Kunigami for the first time since before they went to proceed to the 100 gold challenge. Bachura would introduce Otoya to Kunigami since they never met before, and Nagi would say, "What's going on, final boss? Egoist, why are you on the bench?" Isagi would say his team was better than he expected, but he will be on the field in no time, so be ready for when they have to face off. On the other side, we would have Kunigami telling off Otoya and Bachura, leaving them both shocked, and then they would go up to Isagi, who would say that Kunigami has been like that ever since he survived the wild card. With Bachura and Otoya being childish about the thing, not knowing how serious it was. They would say that they are going on ahead, and Isagi would say, "I'll join you guys soon." The announcers would remind everyone of the special rules and announce the kickoff for the game. Kaiser would hand the ball off to Ness and he would send an immediate vertical backspin pass through Nagi to Grim. Nagi would be in shock. Grim would blitz through Picasso and Bose with his heavy tank dribbling. Grim would send a pass to Gesner, who would delicately dribble past Sol and Gomez, and send a lob pass to Kunigami. Bro, someone please get Grease a map. Where is bro looking at? Kunigami would charge through the defense, who took a massive right leg shot which more deflects it. Bose would be the first one to receive the ball and send it to Bachura, who would start to boost up the tempo. Now for everyone wondering how come I've barely mentioned Nagi, it's simply because unless it's second selection or third selection, it's rare for him to actually do much in the game unless he has the ball, and then he would cook. Especially with Isagi not on the pitch, that wouldn't fire him up at all. Bachura, the Nutmeg Master, would take his first victim of the NEL. Using his new Ginga X Monster dribbling style, he would break past Sachs and Birkenstock. With Kunigami getting in his way and Bachura getting ready to commence his dance performance. Bachura would say that Isagi told him that Kunigami used the wild card ticket to come back here, and how glad he is to have Kunigami back, before Kunigami proposes a dance battle with him taking the lead. Bachura would zip the ball to the right to protect it from Kunigami and then swoosh it back to the left. But Kunigami would still be on him, so Bachura would then do a wide double touch, and then use a double gear touch to escape from Kunigami, with Grim and Gesner waiting for him. Bachura would send a heel flick to an uninspired Nagi, who would send the ball to Otoya, who would send a pass to Bachura, which would lead to an assist as Bachura would score with his B shot. The announcer would make an announcement. Now the score is 0-1 in FC Barcha's favor. Kaiser would send the ball to Ness for the restart of the game. Kaiser would proceed to blitz past Bachura and Picasso. Ness would use his flexible ankle technique to break past Gomez easily, and then he would pass by Otoya easily. After that, he would send an immediate illusionary cross pass for Kaiser with Bachura hot on his tail, but Kaiser would shove him away and score a Kaiser impact to equalize the game 1-1, shocking everyone except for the Master Strikers and BM players who are used to it already. And the announcer has another announcement to make. Join the Discord to keep up with me and other Bluelock fans as well. And I now have YouTube memberships if you want to help support the channel grow even more. There are 3 tiers you can do in this, and they will be in the join button. You can see it there. Thanks Blue Flames and Raito6 for being the first members to join. If you broke, just subscribing and watching the video would do me a world of good as well. Now onto the video. Nagi would be shocked, calling the Kaiser impact a cheat code. Bachura would tell Kaiser he is awesome and he is gonna dance on his grave. Then Lavinho would come on and steal the spotlight. Noah would come on as well. The adults would trade words before heading onto the stage, with Noah calling out Isagi to join the pitch, which makes Nagi finally fired up, as his chance to finally crush Isagi had arrived to the battlefield. Whether opponents or teammates, Isagi was the one who got Nagi fired up the most. And even without Isagi and Ryo, Nagi had cruised through the rest of the second selection and third selection. Nagi and Isagi would be excited to face each other in the grand stage, especially since they would be playing with the best in the world, Noah, for the next 3 minutes. The most intense football Isagi and Nagi would play yet. Noah would sub in for Kunigami and Isagi for Gessner. We would also see Otoya move to the right back position and Nagi and Barcha as the wingers. Kickoff resumes and Barcha passes the ball to Lavinho for a Master Striker showdown. Lavinho does his best to keep the ball away from Noah while also looking for the best way to get the offense going, with the bench players cheering them on. Kaiser, Isagi, Barcha, and Nagi would all be circling around the two kings. Isagi would dash in this insane showdown, which would shock Nagi that Isagi had the balls to do so, which would make Lavinho instantly get ready to dance with a powerful rainbow flick, and uses Isagi as a wall to stop Noah, and starts to charge through the whole Munchen team and humiliating their goalkeeper, which he decimates and becomes a free butterfly who becomes the one who casts death on BM to make the score 2-1 in FC Barcha's favor. FC Barcha would celebrate that 1-1 goal like it's the UEFA Euro 2024 all over again. Noah would get the ball to resume kickoff. Noah passes it to Kaiser, who passes it to Ness. Noah would make a dash charge by Otoya and Nagi, a charge that demands Ness passes him the ball in this instant. Ness passes it to Noah and would get past Espresso and dribbles past Barcha and Bo and another defender as well. Noah would pass the ball to Kaiser, who sends it back to Noah, with Lavinho sliding down to stop Noah. Lavinho would try to tackle Noah. Noah would dodge him and then fake out the two defenders. Lavinho does a shoulder charge, but Noah sends the ball in the air and then scores with his left leg, showcasing his God-given almighty ambidexterity skills. The Master Strikers would leave the stage with Kunigami coming in for Noah. By the way, what type of disrespect was Kunigami pulling off sitting in the #1 striker's chair? Isagi and Kunigami would trade words before the final kickoff, and Barcha would admire the two buddies getting along.
We cross over to the English Stratum and see them enjoying the game. Whale would be concerned since Nagi hadn't really done anything noteworthy in the game yet. Shigiri would have the same concerns, but for Isagi, Hiragi would just be watching closely from the background, seeing what Nagi would do without a talented learner to carry him. We cut over back to FC Barcha vs Baston Munchen kickoff. Nagi would overhear Isagi tell Kunigami that they better give it their all, if not they would be benched next game. 2-2. Kickoff begin. Otoya would pass the ball to Barcha, who would start messing around with Isagi by having multiple stepovers onto passing it to Otoya, who would play shadow tag with Barcha. Grim would go for a press against Barcha, who would do a reverse roulette to get by him. Kunigami would try to join for a double press, but Barcha would heel flick it in the air. Ness would catch the ball in the air, taunting him, saying that rhythm won't work forever. Ness would go for a cross, but Nagi would steal the ball from behind, saying it's time to level up. Nagi would start trading passes with Barcha. Birkenstock and Mensa would go in for the double press, but Nagi would use his black hole trap from the second selection and lift it up in the air in a similar way to Shido. Then Nagi would say, "This is my solo football. I hope you're watching, Isagi." He would shoot his bicycle shot, but Kunigami would get in the way, saving the shot and saying, "Not yet." Mensa would get the pass to Ness, who would send a pass to Kaiser, but it's intercepted by Isagi, who would get pressed by Picasso, leaving Isagi with no choice but to shoot, but Picasso stops it with ease. Otoya dashes for it, but Grim gets the ball first. Grim would notice that Nagi and Kunigami are trying to press Kaiser, so he would send the ball to Ness, but Isagi stops it. Barcha would get in Isagi's way, but Isagi would pick him out with a shot feint. Isagi, desperate to get his numbers up to stay on the pitch, to show his hero Noah he can still be a vital asset to this team, would send a pass to Kunigami, with Isagi telling him to keep running his. "Shut up, Isagi. This is pathetic of you." The old Isagi wouldn't stoop so low by only proving himself useful with assists. Every time I played with him, he always scored. I valued you as my final boss to beat, but now you're not even that big of a deal.
Nagi would send the ball after stealing it to Barcha and would tell Barcha to follow his lead. Barcha, excited to see what Nagi is cooking up, would play along. Kunigami would go for a tackle so Nagi couldn't trap the ball with his legs, but Nagi would trap it with his back and kick it forward to Otoya. Nagi would run past Barcha, who received the pass from Otoya. Barcha would call Nagi clever for using him as a wall so he could avoid danger. Nagi would rush straight for goal and Barcha and Otoya would trade passes. Barcha would say, "Here you go, Nagi-chi. Not so fast, lazy genius. Once you trap the ball, it's gonna hit the floor and then game over for you. Land it? I don't need that anymore." As Nagi would do a switch over to a juggling shot, finishing the game 2-3. The final whistle would blow as Nagi would have won the game for FC Barcha 3-2. His teammates would rush him with joy to celebrate. Nagi would look at Isagi and say, "I finally beat you." Then would wonder, what is next for me? We cut back to England's military room as Rail would say, "Great job, Nagi. I knew you could do it." Kaiser and Isagi would have a little banter before Eagle came on the screen. Eagle would tell everyone congrats on their first match and ask how it felt to taste the Rider world. Eagle would teach the Eagles about philosophies until Eagle would reveal a special announcement that this is only the public version of the video, and in order to see the rankings for the other stratums and some of the clips for the other games, you will have to join Suki's membership in order to get the full version of the video, which will show the rankings from other stratums and some gameplay you don't see in the public version. So it's your choice how you want to go about it, but before that, since I want to give a special thanks to my #1 follower, Basil Dragon, I will show you Shido's bid and Kaiser's for free, as well as the ending to PXG's game. Nagi and Isagi would be stunned to see Rin playing, with the score being 2-2, as Shido had just equalized the game. Rin would score a devastating curve shot to end the game 3-2. Now on to the bids. With 10th place, we have Yorichi Isagi with a bid of 3 million. 7th place, Eita Otoya with 11 million. 4th place, Ryusei Shido with 20 million. 3rd place, Seishuo Nagi with 22 million. 2nd place, Meguru Bachura with 34 million. And in 1st place, Rini Toshi with 36 million. And Kaiser is at 300 million like in canon. Now an important thing to discuss is how Nagi continues now that he has achieved his goal of beating Isagi. How did Seishuo Nagi's talent wither away? And was that a result of the environment of England, or is that just the Nagi problem? Ego states talent isn't the power to believe in your abilities, but the ability to showcase and prove your abilities. But that talent can change depending on one's surroundings and mental states. Sometimes you get the results that surpass your talent. For example, Nagi's 5-goal feints chain with the help of Reo Mikage. However, he didn't do it in this version of the story to beat Isagi. So is he safe now? Well, not exactly. Ego does state it was the insanity level of the goal that made beating Isagi bad. But ultimately, whatever goal he scored, it was gonna be pure satisfaction in defeating Isagi that led to Nagi's downfall. His desire was released and an animal with a full stomach forgets to hunt, which that fire won't return. He doesn't have a mentor in Agi to tell him what to do, nor does he have any strong talented learners to help him on his team to help him go for his own goals. And their geniuses in Barcha and Otoya are only going for their own goals. And the leader who already has a favorite in Lavinho will not be trying to push Nagi forward, as Chris Prince tried. While Nagi x Bachura worked in the past, that was because Nagi was fired up. Now that he is not, Bachura won't have that interest in him. So many people say Nagi should have joined Barcha because of the freedom, but Nagi needs to understand his creativity and technique. Nagi is a genius freedom type. Give him too much freedom and he will fall. This is only because he was never really into the sport of soccer. He has always had people like Reo and Isagi drop their own perception of freedom onto him that he just obliges to, stated by Chris in chapter 179. Nagi, once he starts caring, he will get better in terms of his own freedom and creativity. But for now, he is actually just going to go down in the dumps since there's no one to push him forward. That is what he gets in FC Barcha. He has all the freedom in the world. However, the two things in the team that he needs to build him forward to motivate him right now to keep playing football at the highest level is not here. Imagine having till the end of the semester to finish a project. You're a talented learner nerd or a genius who is super motivated. You won't be really hyped up to do the assignment in the early stages of the assignment, but to procrastinate it and do it until damn near the ending of the semester. In early Bluelock, Nagi procrastinated a lot. He even wanted to lose some games in the first selection when he wasn't fired up, just like in his canon self. He wouldn't care about the second and third match.
match, and would keep telling himself he can just make a comeback in the final match. Like a student would say, I can finish this assignment in the final hour. So for those wondering if Nagi will get predator eyes, I believe the answer is no. I believe it's a restrictive type of eye, as Rin, Yukimiya, Kaiser, Bao, and Onazi all have it, and I mean all of them are restrictive. It's kind of doubting on Onazi, but I believe that for now. And Sendo is a restrictive type too, and I believe he's gonna get it. One key way to understand a restrictive striker is their predictable playstyles. Like Bao, for instance, that's how Hiragi caught him lacking. Kaiser running the same plays with Kaiser Impact all the time, Rin running his curve shots, Yukimiya running his dribbling style to get the gyro shots, even with the level of competition he has now, and Bao always going for those long distance shots. They all have similar shooting routines and will not change it for no one. While they do have other options, they mainly have to go to the restrictive states to bring the best out of them. And when they are in their ultimate pleasure points, it's because of the insane pressure put upon them, like Bao scoring a double touch nutmeg with all that pressure on him, or Rin scoring his crash shot. If Nagi was a restrictive type, he would have found a way to awaken under all the pressure the NEL gave him, but he crumbled under that pressure, so he is not. Nagi is a freedom type because at his best being the second and third selections, he kept on being creative, creating new techniques like reverse black holes and creating new ways to score each match. His trapping playstyle allows him to reshape the game and give him unlimited ways to make the match into his own image. Just like Barcha's dribbling style, it gives him so many ways to cook in just one skill set. That is the same thing for Nagi as well. He was his strongest after he rebelled against the restriction that Will gave him in the second selection, or the one Aki gave him during the NEL. Except in the NEL, he had surpassed his limits, and with restriction of being Whale's freedom and not the strength of his own freedom, he collapsed. So yeah, Nagi is a freedom type, but because of the external circumstances, he is still gonna fall. Now with that explanation, we can finally get into the build up to the Ubers match, which wouldn't be much, just training drills, with Lavinho noticing that Nagi isn't trying as hard as he did in the previous game, but he wouldn't think much of it yet. Lavinho would announce the new starting lineup. Goalkeeper, Moro. Left back, Darai. Right back, Bose. Left center back, Uzais. Right center back, Ruiz. Central defensive midfielder, Wakatsuki. Central attacking midfielder, Gomez. Second central attacking midfielder, Picasso. Left wing, Nagi. Right wing, Otoya. Striker, Barcha. Lavinho would give them the game plan. He would tell them that it's important to not stick to one route of scoring, as Ubers is an extremely annoying team that will understand your rhythm with ease, and would call out Barcha on how his rhythm was understood by Ness, and saying you need to do work in adding more rhythms to break this team down. In Spain, scoring the same goal over and over won't cut it, and this game is a perfect test to see if FC Barcha can live up to that Spanish rule. And most importantly, do the style, baby! With that, they would march onto the pitch to see the new members of the Ubers team. Nico, Sendo, and Bao would all finally join the team. Sendo would have it against Nagi for stealing his ace position in the exhibition match. Arya would compliment FC Barcha on their glamorous victory against Bastard Munchen, but sadly they will suffer defeat against Uber Eats. As when your stomach is hungry, you give in to the temptation of Maid Bao's Italy Cafe. Nagi would say, let's get the show on the road. Barcha would say, let's crush him fast, and Otoya would say the ladies will be watching, better do it in style. Kickoff would start and Sendo would give the ball to Bao, who would get double pressed. Bao would send the ball back to Sendo, who everyone would be shocked that Bao was actually passing now. Sendo, who would send the ball to Nico, would give it off to Drago and then on to Perron, building up a slow attack. Bao would shake off Wakatsuki and get ready for a pass. Then Sendo would send a final pass, but Darai would intercept it, saying it smells over here. Darai would send a pass to Wakatsuki, who would send a pass to Otoya, who would start playing shadow tag with Barcha. Nagi would be looking to get into a position to get a loose ball and get his own attack going. However, Ari would be behind him. Sendo would try to tackle Barcha, but he nutmegs him and does a roulette pass to Nico. And then Lorenzo comes to the scenery, marking Barcha as the highest value on the team, so he is their ace, and he would devour him. Barcha would get excited by facing a super defender, Anujan 11 in Lorenzo. Lorenzo would dribble past Barcha and then Otoya. He would nutmeg Nagi and then start the charge. Wakatsuki would try to press him, but he would pass the ball to Sendo, who would pass it to Abdi, who sends it back to Lorenzo. Ruiz would try to tackle Lorenzo, but he would do a flick up and sends a pass to Bao with the right on him, but he does a chop feint to get past him and scores the opening goal of the game, 1-0. Nagi would say there's still time to turn it around. Barcha would commence for a counterattack. Barcha would slip past Bao and Sendo. Barcha would then nutmeg Abdi and do another nutmeg past Drago before doing the lift up past Peron. Lorenzo tries to intercept it, but Barcha sends a pass to Otoya, but Nico intercepts it, saying it was all in their design. Nico would send a pass to Drago, who would send another pass to Sendo, who would send a pass to Bao. With Wakatsuki on him, he would do a chop feint to get past him, but the Rai was ready for it this time and steals the ball and sends it to Otoya, who would send a pass to Nagi. Nagi would trap it with ease to steamroll through Ubers. Nagi would get past Nico and Aryu with ease, and then Lorenzo would jump in, shocking Nagi. Bachura would scream for Nagi to pass it to Bachura, and which he does for Bachura to go for goal, but Aiku would stop it, saying that they shouldn't forget about him. Then Otoya would try to get the rebound, but Aryu headers it down to Lorenzo, who would make another charge and sends it to Baron. And automatically, Durai and Ruiz would get in his way, but Baron passes it back to Nico, who would send it to Peron, and then to Sendo, who gives the ball back to Bao in a Savannah like experience. Boom! Bao scores a Predator Eye Savannah goal to give Ubers the 2-0 lead over FC Barcha. Barcha would say playtime is over. We need a super performance to win this game. Barcha would tell Nagi to snap out of this phase, how it could have been 1-1 if he had locked in and scored earlier. Otoya would chime in saying that super not cool. Nagi would still be in a daze. Nagi would ask what he should do. Barcha would say, whatever the ball tells you to do, let what you feel come to life. Nagi would be just dumbfounded. Kickoff would happen, but Bachura would immediately get pressed by Lorenzo, who wants to destroy Bachura one last time before winning 3-0. Bachura would show him his full power in a 1v1. Lorenzo would charge in, but Bachura would swipe the ball to his right. Bachura would be in total focus, making Lorenzo charge in first. Lorenzo would use his zombie giraffe legs to stay with Bachura, and then Bachura would turn it up a notch with the right double touch. Then uses a double gear double touch. But Lorenzo would do a side spin tackle to stay on Bachura, but Bachura would do a heel flick to get past him and pass it to Nagi, who gets past Nico and Aryu again, and IQ would come in. However, Nagi would pass it to Otoya, who shoots a shot, but Lorenzo takes it, leaving Bachura to finish it off with his B shot. Lorenzo would be cheering from the sidelines as Barcha finally got a goal. Nagi would say, just 2 more. The kickoff would initiate with a design change. Ubers would be playing to finish off the match now with a huge offensive pattern. Barrow would pass it to Nico, who passes it to Sendo, and passes it off to Drago, who passes it off to Peron, so they wouldn't be able to predict their next move. They would try to get the ball to Barrow, but Otoya would say he saw this coming easily. Otoya would send it to Wakatsuki, who sends it to Nagi. Nagi and Barcha would start bulldozing through the Ubers defense, but Lorenzo would still be putting heavy pressure on Barcha, so Nagi wouldn't be able to rely on Barcha to score, so he would just rely on his struggling shot that he used to beat Isagi. However, IQ would get in the way, saying that he saw through it too. They saw through their old matches. Barrow would pick up the rebound and start trading and start passing passes with Nico. Otoya would try to accept, but Barrow would send a different pass to Sendo, who would receive the pass and passes it to Nico, who would send the final pass to Barrow, who would smash in a villain goal to win the game 3-1. Bachura would walk over and tell Nagi not to sweat it, we can still be NEL champions. However, he isn't the same Nagi ever since he beat Isagi, and ask what's going on. In response, Nagi would say, I don't know. Otoya would say, we need everyone at full power in order to beat Bluelock's #1, Itoshi Rin. Nagi would walk over to Barrow and ask what pushes him forward. Barrow would respond to be the best, obviously. Nagi would ask, and if that happens, Barrow would respond with, he would create his own era of soccer where he will take down anyone who comes for his throne. Barrow would comment, as Nagi is right now, he isn't a pain at all. Barrow would say he isn't hungry enough and can't feel his pain in the butt fire. To him, it looks like Nagi is just pretending to fight, so he recommends to go diet and come back, and to stop using a bald fake ego. That lukewarm mindset won't work on the world stage. Ego would come on and say, as match 4 has just ended, we will be waiting to see how match 3 ends shortly. And for my members, you will be able to see the ending to Munchen versus Manshine City without Isagi, as remember Isagi and Kunigami got benched. So Nagi and Bao would be shocked to see Isagi on the bench, and even Kunigami is on the bench too. We would see Rayo and Agi make their way down the pitch, with Rayo passing through Ali, passing it to Agi, who gets through Ness, but is stopped by Kaiser. Nagi would look at the scoreboard and see Kaiser already with 2 goals and Chiguri with 1. Rayo would shoot a ring curve shot, but Gagamal would save it, sending it for a corner. Nagi would be shocked Rayo copied Rin's play style. Rin would be watching this in a disgust, calling it a lukewarm copy of it. Nanase would have just started Rin's extra program. Ryo would get ready to take the corner, but Rin and Tokimitsu would recognize this as Rin's Olympical corner. Ryo would score an insane corner goal to equalize the game 2-2. Nagi would be shocked at how far Ryo has come. Shido would smirk that Ryo is truly following his copycat explosion. Zantetsu would say that Ryo has gotten even hotter. Karasu would say in regular terms is cooler, but he gets hotter when works too. But don't keep admiring him as we have to destroy him soon. 20th place, Yoichi Isagi with 3 million. Also in 20th place is Itsuki Wakatsuki with 3 million. 14th place, Eita Otoya with 14 million. 13th place, Miroku Durai with 16 million. 11th place, Seishiro Nagi with 18 million. Second place, Meguro Bachura with 68 million. And in first place, Shorei Bao with 100 million. Nagi would be shocked to see himself regress, but Bachura would say it's only natural as he barely did anything when it mattered the most. Otoya at least provided the assist to his goal, so it made sense. But it doesn't matter because they have to give it their all against PXG and win so they can keep their hopes of becoming NEL champions alive. Lorenzo would be excited on getting to devour Kaiser in the next game. IQ and Aryu wouldn't find much interest in Germany since they lost both of their games. Bauer would just hope Isagi finds a way to come back for the next game as he wants to crush a stronger Isagi. They would both head back to their locker rooms. Bachura, noticing Nagi was down, would reflect on the time Nagi saved him in the second selection. He would tell Nagi he was planning on seeing Isagi and if Nagi would want to come, and Nagi would accept. Rin would be watching replays of the Barcha game and say he's gonna crush Nagi and make Sai regret choosing Nagi instead of his own little brother. Well, damn, that was a fun one to record. Anyways, until part 4, stay blessed, Suki out.